I am, but you'll be.
Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to another episode of Winedown Wednesday. And guys, I just want to say also welcome to Gemini season because Gemini season is in full effect and we are in the house, baby. We gonna cut up. You heard
Amen.
it? Our
Cut
season,
up.
okay? So the wine of today is a Apothic. Is a Apothic crust. Is a soft red blend. You can purchase this, of course, at my favorite place, Total Wine, Rouse's, anywhere that has a good wine selection is about $10. It's really smooth on the palate. It's a variety of flavors that's mixed with this. It's like a red fruit caramel with chocolate. It's really, really good, really, really smooth. And of course, it goes with beef for you meat lovers. Goes with a good lamb. Like I always love a good lamb, y'all, and some hard cheese. It goes really good with your charcuterie board. So you can fix that up with your little grapes and cheese and crackers and have a nice little board with a potted crushed wine. So we're gonna grab a glass of whatever your favorite drink is. We're gonna grab that glass and we're gonna get into this good topic of toxic love.
Water with lemon.
When loyalty becomes a life sentence. But before we do that, I want to introduce everyone on our panel tonight, guys, and they can tell you a little bit about what they got going on before we dive into this topic. So, yeah, of course, we can start with Kecia. It's the only male on the panel that always has some kind of obnoxious shit to say.
No, I speak truth. Y'all get tired. I speak truth. I'm Kevin's the king. I speak truth. That's my thing. That's it.
Okay, and
Who's
then of
next? The one
course,
we can't see.
the one we can't see down bottom is Demetrius Morris.
Hello, hello, hey y'all. It's
So,
me, Demetrius Morris. I am here.
Yeah, let's see it in.
and then in
Kevin, I'm
our
about to go. I'm gonna put my hand up on ponytail just for you. Hold on.
girl,
Thank you.
put a big baseball cap on and show your
That's
face.
what that might be what happened. Hold on.
Yeah, do the baseball cap thing. And then in the bottom left corner of me or your right side, whichever side you're sitting on, I have my lovely, lovely line sister sitting there, Miss Stacy Knockham, known as 504 girl, Nola girl, and whoever she want to be tonight.
Hey everybody, thanks again for inviting me on. I'm really excited to see or listen to basically different perspectives on the topic that's presented.
Okay, so let's dive on into this, y'all, because I know Kevin's have some strong opinions about this because we started this
No.
conversation last night about Cassie and what we're talking about tonight is toxic relationships and how we get caught up in different situations, right? That are toxic for us, and I wanted to kind of look at Diddy and Cassie's relationship because that's a trending topic right now because a lot of people are talking about what Cassie's role and her
Yes.
taking
Please.
accountability for
Yes.
her for her being in that so-called toxic relationship. And I just want to throw out a couple of definitions for y'all because I throw out this topic a lot, trauma bond. And I just wanted to kind of give a definition about what trauma bonding is. So trauma bond is the relationship is an unhealthy emotional attachment that can develop between an abuser and their victim. It is characterized by a cycle of abuse and positive reinforcement where the victim becomes emotionally dependent on the abuser. And there are, like common things and features, signs of trauma bonding. And some of us may be experiencing this and don't know it. So one of the features of trauma bonding is the cycle of abuse. And I'm not going to go fully into that, but the cycle of abuse is the abuse, of course, then it follows with affection and apologies. And we talked a lot about that when we talked about sex trafficking. Positive reinforcement, the abuser making a person feel like they are important, giving them kindness and validation in a relationship, which lures them back into that relationship. The fear and dependence. So a lot of us, we have that fear of letting our perpetrator go because, you know, we've developed some type of dependence on that person, whether it be financial, emotional, whatever that emotional support may be. And then the victim may idealize the abuser doing the positive and enforcement, seeing them as loving and caring. Trauma bond makes it extremely difficult for our victim to break free from the abusive relationship. And if they recognize, and it's hard for them to recognize the abuse, because of course, I think it's all about emotional control, because that person learns what triggers you, and they learn how to kind of control and manipulate the responses that they get. So, and I also want to talk about, I want to throw this out there too. And I don't know what y'all think about this, but I think a part of Cassie was only 19 years old when she met Diddy.
Stop
Diddy was
doing
like
that. Stop
a
doing that.
decade, but this, hear me out. He
No,
was
go
like a
ahead.
decade older than this girl, you know, and a lot, and we kind of, and I blame society for this too, because we kind of put it out there. You know, we always want to be this ride or die chick for behind our man, right?
No,
So
we don't.
you know, sometimes you always hear them say, I'm a ride or die chick. But what are you, I mean, ride or die to what extent? So I think for me, what I just think, Cassie, I'm not gonna victim. Like I don't see her as a victim, right? I think
Okay,
she was
thank you.
very aware of what she got herself into. But I also feel like she got caught up into this situation where it became toxic. And as a young person, she really couldn't handle that emotionally. She became financially dependent on this person. And
Okay,
she
boss.
was enjoying the gifts and the things that she was getting.
Okay.
So
You
as
done?
yeah, I'm done.
You finished it? Okay, okay. Now here's the thing. Okay, I will agree to that part, but the problem is she decided to stay in that lifestyle on her own. She even said that she was doing things not to lose Diddy. So at that point, is it Diddy fault or her fault? Because she was doing things to keep Diddy. She don't seem like a prude, seem like somebody didn't want to make him happy, and she didn't want nobody else to get Diddy. So how is that Diddy fault on that part? Is she saying herself that she did these things to keep Diddy happy? So Diddy don't know you're not happy. Diddy just think you're doing what you want to do because you want to do it. Because she said she was doing these things to make Diddy happy. Is Diddy a good man? No. But I just don't think Diddy should go to jail behind her keeping doing it to make him happy. I don't think it's jail stuff. I don't think it's
So
he
you
shouldn't be,
so
he
you
shouldn't
don't
date
think
no damn body.
so you don't think he should be in jail for dragging her down the hall, kicking her and beating her?
But he's not on
Yes or
trial for
no?
that
Yes
though.
or no? Yes or no?
But he's not on trial.
What you saw on that tape as a man, do you feel like what he did in that hallway in that hotel, do you think he should be in jail for that?
Yes, but he's not on trial
Okay.
for that.
I understand that. That was my only question. Thank you.
But he's not. That's what I'm saying. What he did.
You answered the question.
Okay.
You answered the question.
But
We
what he
understand that it's the
did.
United States of America versus Sean Puffy Combs. We got that part. I just wanted to know, you as a man,
Oh yes,
looking
that's
at
wrong.
that video,
Like
did
I
you
said,
think?
I wouldn't want to date nobody in my family.
Okay, that's all
But
I need to know.
still, what he's on trial for, he shouldn't go to jail
Correct.
behind.
Correct. That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
So, do you think he should go to jail for what he's on trial for?
I think that as a person who's been in a gauge gap relationship very young, as somebody that's an older person now, understanding the dynamics and the power dynamics, as is stated earlier, yes, she was young, and at some point in time, of course she loved the lifestyle. Of course she was afraid of losing a purse. Of course she was afraid of, of losing those things. But we also have to take into account that these age gap relationships are sickening. These age gap relationships, when you're with somebody 20 years older than you, 15 years older than you, that is, to me, as someone who was in a relationship very young, like Kamora Lee Simmons said, like she was 16 and I think your boy was like 37. That is ridiculous. If you're dating a woman that's old enough to be young enough to be your daughter or your granddaughter, it makes me question your mental capacity.
Whoa. How many? No, I got to disagree, because how many men are older than their wives? Majority, every man is older than their wives.
What I'm saying is,
10 years.
What I'm saying is,
She's not saying older. She's saying the age of your children.
Correct. If you are a 50,
that's different, because if you wouldn't date your child, you shouldn't be dating a person that's the age of your child.
Because literally, you could be having sex with your daughter.
Yes.
She's the same age as your child or grandchild. At the end of the day, our grandparents were in these big age gap relationships.
Yes.
And a lot of these grandmothers were victims.
Yes.
A lot of these grandmothers who have granddaughters my age, 90% of them are telling us, don't get married, don't have kids, stay away from a man, don't marry a man. Get your education and take care of yourself. Those same grandmothers that men say, oh, I want a relationship like my grandparents. Your grandmother's in the kitchen saying, girl, get your education. You think your grandmother was happy. Grandmother was bringing food to grandpa, but telling her granddaughter, get your education. And that's the conversation.
Because everybody wants their daughter to be independent. I mean, that's to get your own self up.
What I'm saying is, as a woman who have a lot of women friends, we can collectively agree that some woman in our life older has said, make sure you are independent, one.
Yes.
Number two, a lot of women are saying, do not connect yourself to a man. Do not entertain a man, one, until you have yourself together, or two, don't even engage with them in terms of marrying them.
A man, period?
A man, period.
Who's saying don't marry a man?
Grandmothers.
Don't get married at early ages. Don't get
not just
focus
that,
on
like,
yourself first.
What
I was drinking, not shit.
What I am saying is, as a woman who has multiple women friends,
okay,
I think some men have a distorted view when they look at their grandparents and they say, oh, I want what my grandparents had.
Okay.
When their grandmothers, who outwardly the matriarch, she's holding the family together, are telling their granddaughters, one, do not depend on a man. And two, some of them are telling their granddaughters, don't get married.
I never heard them grandmothers, but okay. Everybody know, hey, find a good man, marry him. I mean, hey, what's wrong getting married? I never heard nobody say don't get married at all. Now, be independent, yes. Have your own, yes, but not being married, like, nah, I don't know. I don't agree. I do believe in getting your own, having your own independence and having your own stuff going on, because a lot of grandmothers didn't have their own independence. They had to depend on a man to have what they want to have. I do agree with that. A lot of grandmothers had to have a man to get what they wanted to get, because that was the time.
So can you, or do you agree that a 50-something-year-old man should not be dating a 20-year-old? Or
I can't say that. I could say, okay, I will say that girl can't bring nothing to you besides sex and somebody look good on your arm, because y'all can't, you're not on the same level. I'll give you that. I've dated younger than me, so I could tell you that conversation-wise, it wasn't there. I'd rather somebody my age for that. But look-wise, you want that little young tenderoni on your arm, I get that part of it. Is she on your level?
So with all that you just said, to me, that just sounds like it was a selfish type of situation. That it was never okay. So with that being said, now when we talk about trauma bonding, because I did hear that, I stepped away, but I was able to hear that part, right? And just coming from the, I guess, the psychology lens, right? So when you start looking at the idea of a young person being with an older person and thinking that's the ideal thing, and then being taken very good care of. Because if most of us know, especially if you've been in an abusive relationship, it don't start off abusive. It starts off beautiful. It starts off wonderful, and that connection then becomes a thing. And then when the abuse part starts, that is it's not just physical, it's mental, right? So that's where that bonding piece really starts to kind of change, right? Because then it gets weird, because it's not just I'm connected to you in love, but I'm connected to you like I owe you, right? Because it may not make sense to some maybe men sometimes, because sometimes it don't make sense to us. But what happens in that thing is, like, even though you know you should hate this person and you should not be with this person and you should want to leave, part of it is like you feel a responsibility of the abuse. Like, part of it is your job to stop it from happening. And so it even though it's just it's a weirdness, right? It doesn't make sense to many people. So when you say, okay, hey, she knew better, why didn't she leave? Why did she want to please him? Because she was a victim. She was an abuse victim. She was operating under the psychology of abuse. That is what was happening to her. So for people to judge that who have not had that experience, to me, baffles me.
And I think it speaks to like that age gap relationship, because I'm speaking from a place of being in an age gap relationship as a young person. And that moment you decide, I'm done, this is over. Now, I will say I've never been a victim of abuse, but when I broke up with this person, they were just shocked. Like, what? Because I woke up and I'm like, this is about control. This isn't about,
correct.
This isn't about, we had an age gap. It was the eye candy. It was like he said, the arm candy.
Yes.
It was the, oh, I want to marry you. Oh, you're trying to propose to me. I'm 19. I'm a child. And you have no business. And when I woke up and I'm like, yeah, this is it. This isn't what I want. And genuinely being like, well, why? What's the problem? Don't I give you everything? Don't I do everything for you? And we have nothing in common. It's all about, like you said earlier, it's about the arm candy. It's about, oh, you're beautiful. It's about that. And when I woke up and realized that this is what this is all about. And what happened? That person went on, got married another woman, stayed with her when she was old, per se. He traded up, got somebody younger. And that's what it is. It's society, and just in general, like, women are disposable. And so yes, it is. Because at the end of the day, we broke up. That was a hot mess. Then you go get somebody else that's around my age, a little bit older than me, marry her, had multiple kids with her, divorced her, got a whole nother new younger wife, and traded up, got the new model. I still talk to this person to this day, and I'm like, you're ridiculous. You're ridiculous. You're ridiculous.
But I think it's more of an ego thing for the man.
Oh,
it's
yes,
more of an ego
thing.
And then again, it comes into play too with the narcissistic behaviors of someone, because the whole thing of a narcissist, and I can, from being in a relationship with a narcissist, Puff Diddy or whatever he want to call himself today was a narcissist. So it was all about the control thing for him. It was all about the control thing for him.
I understand that part too. But once again, she still stayed, because she said herself she didn't want to lose her that lifestyle. So she needs some blame on that part. I'm sorry.
But the thing is, he also, every time this man is dating women his children age, his son's ages, like Young Miami is maybe younger than his son. So just like Stacey was saying, he threw Kecia away when I guess she started getting too old, so he started beating her and dragging her down the aisle. Then he came across the next best young thing he could. So it was all about a control thing. I read Kim Porter's book. Kim Porter, like it was a control thing for him because they say his penis wasn't no bigger than a peanut. So he had to overcompensate for something, right? he had
I
to
ain't doing
he
that.
had
I
to
ain't doing
make up
that.
for that in some kind of area. And it's all and I feel and him being a narcissist as it is, he just like he didn't want anybody to know. I guess he figured because he was lacking in that area, he had to compensate himself by making himself feel a big person. He dated younger women. He manipulated young women, children. Because if you're dating
I
someone the
said
same age
children.
as your child, that is a child to him.
No, I here when you put it on the age thing. Don't get wrong. A younger girl is not compatible with an older man for intelligence wise. I'll give you that. But she's still not a baby. She's still not a child. She's grown enough to know what she's doing.
So let me ask you this. So when a girl turns 18 years old, you seem that she's an adult, she's a woman. Once she hit 18, she's a woman.
Legal wise, yes.
So legally, correct. So legally, she's a woman, correct?
Yes.
Psychologically, the frontal lobe isn't developed until she's 25.
But I gotta
so let's talk about anatomy.
I know some grown women that still ain't, I mean,
so so not even talking about anatomy. We just clearly stated that if the person is the same age as your child, if you deem your child to be a child, how is it then that this other person is exempt because they're not your biological child? Right? They're the same age, same function, and same.
my grown kids ain't they're my children, but they're not a
That's
child.
their child.
Because they're my children.
But you will consider them, but whether or not they're an adult or not, yeah, whether they're an adult or not, you will always look at them as a child who is under you,
as my child,
as a child that is under you who still needs your tutelage.
But I'll tutor them too.
I want you to lie. I want you to lie right now. Go ahead.
I mean,
correct. But a grown woman don't need your tutelage.
Just a grown or not, everybody need that tutelage.
Not from you though.
No.
Everybody needs the tutelage. Or whatever. I got 3 wives in that know I didn't need a tutelage, so here I'm good.
And so did you, I'm sure.
Yes, because
everybody's still growing. I'm still growing. Everybody's still growing. Everybody's growing. I'm advancing every day in my life. I'm learning something new every day. So hey, I agree with that. But still,
go ahead.
That was the background noise.
So I do this whole this whole situation. One thing I'm curious about is why when she after the NDA she sued him, he settled immediately. Because he knew he didn't want to get out. So if you're not doing anything wrong, because he is on trial, and if he's convicted, he will face life in prison. Now that's a whole nother scenario because it's the trafficking and all this other stuff. So if I'm standing on business, I'm not, she was an adult. Why settle? Because you didn't want your business. You didn't want what you were doing out there in the public.
Yes, he didn't want to mess up his image at all. He that's his money. He didn't want to lose his money.
What would make it? They're adults. So what? How are we messing up the image? We adults, right? Adults who can make that decision.
But he was doing a little too much. But I'm for goddamn. With shit. And
the thing is this, like
he on another level of freakiness.
I always the thing about it is. And I know some people are not interested. Like, I'm a Scorpio, he's a Scorpio. And some sick shit goes through our mind. It's sick. Like, my mind is sick. The things I be thinking, I'm like, girl. To act on it is what is, to me, is disturbing.
Right.
To act on it, to me, is just, like I said, you can have the thoughts. I tell my son all the time, you can think what you want to think, but what's coming out your mouth? What are you doing? So I'm like, okay. But at the same time, it's like, again, you settled because you didn't want it out there. And it's something that you said that, to your point. Well, everybody grown. Everybody grown. We adults. Let's put that you was doing all these, let's put it out there. And I watched, some of the trial. And the thing is, he's losing control. He's a control freak, and this trial he's losing control and he's unraveling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, once again, I wouldn't want to date did it, but I don't think he should go to jail for what he on trial for. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't want to date did it, but I don't think he should go to jail behind what he's charged. That's my only problem with it.
You don't think that he should go to jail behind his choices? That he had Cassie hiring sex workers
But
to be on her. Do you think she was in a consensual state every time that they were doing something? It's like, for me, I felt like as a minor in her minor child state of thinking, she's only trying to maintain that lifestyle.
Yes.
So she's going along with her abuser. And
but should he go to jail?
We try to appease and want the approval of our abuser.
Right.
So when people are abused, they go through any lengths to kind of please that abuser. So she was, first of all, he was drugging her to the point I'm not gonna say she still was addicted to opioids. And
she was getting her own drugs too, though, on her own. He put her in rehab because she was on too much drugs. He put her in rehab. So
he introduced her to the drug. He introduced her to the dealer. And he had to stop the dealer because, first of all, he had an overdose, so he was just doing as much as her. And then, second of all, he stopped the dealer from giving her drugs because what? Because she was doing too much. That was after he had the overdose. So now he's cognizant of, hey, we got to put a little pause on this because we're going a little bit too much.
What's wrong with that? He's like, let's put a break on it. What's wrong with that?
So there's a couple things that, so human trafficking doesn't have to be a child, right? So children is commercial sex exploitation of children. Human trafficking is just a coercion in selling of someone else, right? Not having the right to their own bodies. And so is it fair to say that there were times that Cassie did not have control of her own body?
Oh, is that a question for the panel?
Yeah. Is it fair to say?
No, she didn't.
She didn't.
I know.
But there was all different drugs, though. They were all.
But whether drugs or not, was it not proven that there were times that she was forced to do things that she did not want to do?
How was she forced?
And it was even proven that he sexually assaulted her.
But it goes back to,
correct.
But it also goes back to even marriage. There are men out here who think that a husband can't rape his wife. There are women out here who are married to men who sleep with their husbands, not because they want to, not because, oh, I'm in the mood. It's because let me just go ahead and do this, so it's not in it. So I don't want to hear it. Yes. So there are men out here who feel like if they are married to a woman, he has full autonomy, or she don't have autonomy over her body. When I want to have sex, we have to have sex. That is rape. I don't care if you married. I don't care if you married. You do not have full exclusive rights to my body when I'm telling you I don't want to sleep with you. And that's the thing. That's the society we live in. That's a society. See how he laughed? That's a society we live in where men feel like if I'm married to you, I can sleep with you anytime I want.
I want
married. These days, I don't even think they feel they have to be married to you, Stacey. To be honest, I don't think they have to.
They don't have to be married to you.
But that's the way some of them justify it. You're
correct.
My wife, and we always get these men who say, "Well, if you don't give it to him, somebody else will give it to him."
Yes.
When you have a society that makes you feel like that as a woman, well, yeah, you're gonna go ahead and sleep with him because I don't want him to. I'm not saying me personally. Because I don't want him to go out there and get it from somebody else. Yeah. If you have to go sleep around because your wife, for whatever reason, don't want to sleep with you, you don't need to be married. You don't need to be married.
But one day, no. It was something like going on, constantly like what's going on, and One day, okay,
But
baby, we good.
typically men do not have the wherewithal to really have a conversation. You know what it is? Or you don't want to have sex? What's wrong with you? It's not a, hey, what's going on? Baby, let's talk about it. A lot of men feel like you're my wife. This is your duty. This is your responsibility.
Well,
You don't
in the
give it to
Bible,
me.
we go biblical.
Let's
right
not even go there. We're talking about a game. We're talking about consent. Okay. We're talking about consent. We're talking about autonomy over your own body. A piece of paper should not dictate you going out there and sleep with whomever. If that's what you want to do, that was always in you to do that.
Yes.
That was always in you to do that.
I'm saying, okay, understand.
Because hold on. There are women who, excuse my language, suck and fucking pluck on their husband and their husband still out there cheating.
Oh yeah, doing whatever. Yes.
That doesn't matter. We gonna cheat if we go to sleep no matter what.
I'm saying. If that's
it doesn't matter.
You're gonna do that regardless. So back to consent and back to like she said about the sex trafficking. Yeah, there was times she was high. Yeah, there was time. And for me, just personally, I'm not a man. Why would you even want to sleep with somebody that's high? That's not even there 100%. But again, I'm controversial. Men be looking for holes. Long as they got a hole.
Long as they got a hole, baby, they're gonna fall in it.
Once that thing get hard, I'm telling you.
No.
That's just my personal opinion.
No.
Well, I feel the same way. All they need is a hole.
We wouldn't have all these kids out here. We wouldn't have all this other shit we got going on. When a man get hard, you better watch out. Because you're going to be his next victim.
Okay. Back to
you're going to be his next victim.
Like, nah, I'm sorry, nah. Like you're right, Larry, nah. That
well, I know Larry's going to say
we ain't trying to fall in every hole. Believe me that.
Larry's
going to say that. Joe going to say that. Tyrone going to say that. But I'm going to tell you who's not going to say it. Lisa, Kecia, Nicole. But yeah, men going to say that, of course. Because we know that we're going to say, oh, there's some good men. Men are good. There's some very good guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All 7 of y'all. Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Even though y'all say everything that look good ain't good. It don't matter at that time.
I always say this. For people that's on social media, oh, we like natural bodies. We like this. We like that, baby. Go to the likes. Go look at what they're liking on social media. They liking the fake boobs, the BBLs. They liking all of that. But
the big
titties, no.
Dress, putting the hearts on. Look, I see more hearts on the naked bodies and the big booties and the titties out than I see on the plain Jane looking women any day. I don't care what kind of accomplishments you have. They ain't liking that. They're sitting in the gap just looking. But the minute I show a little titty, baby, I got about 100 likes on it. They all this like. You show a little titty, everybody likes it.
I mean, we like sex appeal, but at the end of the day, like, we also like somebody who got something too.
Women don't do that for women.
You know, I mean,
women do that because they think the men like it. And y'all play into it. And that's why they continuously do it.
I'm glad you said that. Let me say one thing. I don't know what man ever told a woman to read them long ass lashes. No man y'all do it because y'all think that look cute. The long ass lashes, as no man ever said that shit is cute.
But
that shit is cute.
But this is the thing. If you don't like lashes, don't talk to a woman with a lash. If you don't like weave, don't talk to a woman with a weave. My whole thing with men is y'all make a lot of comments on women appearances. If that's not what you like, then move around to something you like.
I would.
If you don't if you want to educate a woman, get you an educated woman. But you don't have to down the uneducated woman. If you don't like lashes, you don't have to say, "Oh, I don't like lashes." Don't talk to a woman with lashes. But I find it contradictory when I go to y'all Instagram likes and y'all liking the lashes and the weaves and the big booties and the tits and the small waist and y'all liking young girls who literally your daughter ages. And you are on there. You are someone. I'm not saying you because I don't know you, but you are on their page putting the little fire emojis and the hearts and all that other stuff.
I mean, fine is fine. Fine is fine. I mean, fine is fine.
This sliding in
But listen, y'all. These men will sit there with their wives next to them. They will sit there, and you are just scrolling through social media, liking, and you have these women that are like, oh, my husband, he's so good. My boyfriend, he will never do that. Girl, go look at them likes. And a man will say, because we're physical. We attracted to
Yes,
physical.
I mean, I'll give it that, but
Okay.
but still, a man still wants some substance, though. I mean, I can look at something that's fine and I'm like, ooh, I like that, but I'm going home to a nice older queen when I end of the day. Like, nah, like I understand what you're saying, but what
So
I
it's
like
good
to
to
look
but
at.
don't touch.
Oh yeah, I can look all day long, but I'm like,
Okay.
nah.
I just
I can
feel
look
like
at
y'all
it.
full of shit
I can
because
I can appreciate some
I can
fineness
have a
now.
man say,
That's
"Oh, I
good.
hate a fat woman. I hate a fat woman." To me, because I'm not no big old woman, right? Nothing against my big boned sisters. But how is it that every time I see you with some chick, you with a chick with almost 300-400 pounds or 125 pounds bigger than what I am, but you in my face telling me you don't like this, that, and other. So it's all about y'all just full of shit. I don't like lashes, but I see you with somebody with lashes with a. Well, I don't like all that makeup, but when I see you with somebody with a full-fledged face, looking like a drag queen walking down the street, she got weave down her back, 99 inches,
and ladies,
looking like a
please,
drag queen.
all that I'm beating my face shit, you look like a man. I'm on the real. Too much makeup sometimes that shit don't look right. I'm sorry, women.
The
It's
thing
like
is this: you don't have to look at it, and you don't have to like it.
I'm
You don't have to comment on it.
no, stop that overly
See, listen,
manipulating shit.
hold
Yeah, I'm
on.
sorry.
See,
No.
listen, I done jumped in here at the right time.
Go ahead.
You see how that just happened, bro? Right? Kecia just said all the stuff she wanted to say about how men ain't shit, right? And then soon as you commented about what you don't like about women, the other lady jumped in and said, well, you don't have to like it. You don't have to look at it, right? But if we look at stuff and say stuff like that, then we assholes. You see what I'm saying?
Well,
The truth of the matter is, women say all the time, I don't fuck with short niggas. Then you see them with a midget, right? You know, I don't fuck with broke niggas, right? But then they dealing with a broke nigga. You see? So my thing is for real, everybody is full of shit. Everybody, right? But don't nobody want to accept it that they full of shit, just like the next person full of shit. Everybody want a perfect person when they ain't perfect themselves, right? Because I'm gonna tell the truth. I don't care for big women. You'll never catch me with one, right? At all. And I boldly say that. I don't really care for women too much older than me. You see what I'm saying? Right? I like them a little younger than me. And I don't have no shame to say about that. But women my age just say, this was when my age say, oh, you can't handle no real woman. That's why you like young women. No, I like young women because I still like to have fun. If I'm somewhere and I say, come on, let's jump in this cut right here and get it in, a young bro with it, an old bro is on some, boy, I ain't doing all of that. I'm halfway dead anyway. Why I'm still holding on to all the stuff from when we was young. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, I mean, shit.
You can't say that when you have dead your goddamn self. How the hell you?
No, I'm just saying in general, like at some point, the older we get, women get more reserved and more what they ain't gonna do, and men get more spontaneous, right? Because it's like, shit, we ain't got too much time left here anyway. Who we trying to hold up this facade for when we know the whole world ain't shit anyway? So if me and you go to Cancun and we happen to be behind these little bricks right quick, I need you to let me stop. But y'all get what I'm trying to say. You see what I'm saying?
The thing about it is that don't have nothing to do with chemistry. Don't have anything to do with age. If you have chemistry with a person, you have chemistry with a person. That's two different things. But the thing is, you got to find somebody that's like-minded like you. And the only reason a younger woman is interested in that is because if she's not able to afford that trip, because if somebody 20 years younger than you, I know so good and well and I'm not saying because they do have some young women out here, they're doing their damn thing, they in the bag. But 50% of these younger women that y'all talking to, y'all taking care of these women. They're riding off of your dime. You buy every time they walk out with a purse or some shoes that's name brand, they got that shit from a man.
That's not the truth.
And then they brag on it.
Not the truth. That's the truth. Listen, that's the truth. That's the truth. Y'all want it to be, right? Because let me tell you who cost me more money.
They're bragging on it. They're bragging on it. I had a little girl call me with her. She ain't never worked. She got 3 children. She was dating an older man. The older man was dealing drugs. He in jail right now. The man, she can't even pay her rent. Now she trying to find a way to pay her rent because she was dependent on this older man that was dealing drugs, and whatever he was doing to take care of her and help her maintain her household. Now she don't know how to maintain her household without this man. So the thing of it is,
what that got to do with age though, Kecia? Because they got young dudes that do that with women. To me, you're a duck if you do that with a woman. If I'm taking care of a woman, she better be positioning herself that she can sustain life without me. There's never a time when I'm willing to take care of nobody, just a free ride, nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because women are too opinionated. They won't tell you what to do, when to go, how to go, when to come back, even when you paying for everything. So that means you got to pay for something. My last woman I dealt with that was my age ran me ragged. But the younger woman I was dealing with, man, she ain't cost me too much of nothing. If I say I want to go to Cancun, she was buying her ticket.
It goes back to what I was saying. If that's see, Kecia got up here and talked about what about women and looking like drag queens and all that. And you didn't see my facial expression when she was saying that. My whole thing is this: you don't have to down somebody because that's not what you like.
Exactly.
Go find what you like.
Exactly.
Go find what you like. Go find what you want. But at no point in time will I say, "Oh, I don't like a bald head man." I'm not about to go tell the world that. I'm not about to go sprout from he got to make 6 figures. He got to be 6'2". He got to blah. I don't. If that's what you like, go find that. But why are women and men on social media and just in general terrorizing the people they don't like? If you don't
well,
like
I think social media not real. I go on there for entertainment because you could have a dude on social media calling another dude a simp because he dating a woman got 3 children, and here he dating a woman got 6. You see what I'm saying? Social media just where people go and they say anything.
But social media shows up in real life. You say it's not real, but social media shows up in life. Social media.
Listen.
I don't care. See, when people say social media not real, okay, it's not real, but it's showing up in real life.
It show up to me.
People
I'm just gonna speak for myself and the people around me. I think it show up in real life for simple-minded people, right?
People are exposable. They're dispensable. If I don't like you, I go talk to another person. If you giving me problems, I'm gonna jump on the internet. It is. If I don't like you, I'm gonna go sit in the bar. I'm gonna go get somebody else. It is. It shows up in real life. I don't care what anybody says. It does.
We need to follow each other so you can see how I comment on social media. Every time I see one of them posts bashing women, I jump on there and say stuff like, y'all must really hate women, huh? Right? Because I don't understand it. Don't you know I've met many, many women that make 6 figures, right? And ain't none of them ever cared how much I made. Ain't none of them asked me, well, Bryson, how much do you make, right? We go out, we have dates, we have fun. You know what I'm saying? I buy drinks, they buy drinks. I pay for this. I ain't never met a woman that made me feel like if I wasn't making X amount of dollars, they wouldn't deal with me. You know what I'm saying?
But again, I agree. But the flip side of social media, I'm grateful for social media because you know why? It is exposing people for who they really are. There are men that's on the internet that hate women. There are women on the internet that hate men. There are pedophile old men that like young women. There are cougars on the internet looking for young men. It's exposing.
Yes.
It is exposing. It is exposing the 70,000 men that was in a group chat talking about raping their mamas, their girlfriends.
Huh?
That's life.
Raping their mamas.
Yeah. So it was 70,000 men in a group chat telling each other how to rape their daughters, their mothers, their wives.
What group chat?
They didn't know.
Yeah, see, that's a portion of society that I don't know nothing about.
Yeah, what group chat that was? Like,
Google it. Google it. It is.
But you realize that some of that stuff be fake online now.
No, it was real. Just like that man in the UK who was drugging his wife and had men raping her. That's real. That's real.
Why would you have to drug your wife though?
She went to trial.
If I gotta drug my wife to have sex with her, I'm just leaving.
No, he was not. He was drugging her, but men was paying to have sex with her. So what he would do is drug her. He would drug her, put something in her drink at night before she went to bed, and he would have people come run trains on her, rape her, and he was charging them, and it was videoing it.
Oh, he ain't like his wife.
So that's
because I don't want nothing to touch my wife. What?
When people say,
as soon as I find out somebody else touch you, I don't want you.
This lady went through a whole trial. This lady,
But then it
this
goes
lady went
back
through a
to,
whole trial. She
and
had
that
to sit
goes
through
back
watching
to,
videos of her being violated.
which is disgusting, and that goes back to why, you know, the Diddy Cassie thing. Like people, and you know, you could say the same thing. This woman, this was going on. Why didn't she leave their relationship? And they have so many women that get caught up into these different relationships. And you were saying, you know, the social media is fake. Social media does show up in all different kind of ways. Is a major influence on how we actually run our lives and the things how we dress. It influences how we speak. It influences the music that we listen to. I mean, you can't even speak or say something or talk about anything without it popping up repetitively on your Facebook page or your Instagram page, basically trying to sell you on the idea of whatever you are attempting to purchase. If I talk about a Coach bag, that Coach bag company gonna pop up on my page so many times trying to lure me into spending money. So
we got a question on the thing. I do want to know this answer too. How young is young?
Wow.
How many years is acceptable? That's the question. That's a question. How young is young?
They shouldn't be your child age.
How young
Yeah,
is young?
anything my
It
children
shouldn't
is,
be
I
in
can't.
proximity of your children.
The fact that
Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
never gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna say there's a year, because there are people who are compatible who are younger or older. But what I am going to say, if they start to look like your child,
Then you got issues.
hands off.
Yeah.
So Kevin, you don't have
Yeah,
a
you're
problem,
not a safe
right?
person, because to me, you're a pedophile. I'm sorry.
and that's the terminology we need to start using.
So the
Yeah,
first
you're
I
a
agree.
pedophile. You just
It's
the
25
child. The
years ago.
person is an adult, but because if
Somebody-
you can look at a person that's your child's age, right, and think that that's attractive, I'm just saying in that way, especially
Attractive is
when we're
attractive,
talking about
though.
18, 19. Come on now. Listen,
I worked
they got plenty of young men that, you know, even with like that's my daughter age or what, baby, when I look at them, yes, you're a handsome young man, but you are like my son, period.
I work at a college and I worked in higher ed my whole career. And I'm going to tell you, at 19, 18, 20, these are girls not even washing themselves properly. Let's start there. Working in housing, working with young people, young women, and young men. They can't even clean themselves well. And you over here talking about she's an adult? Like, the reality of it is you shouldn't be dating somebody 15, 20 years older than you. I mean, younger than you. That's, to me, again, it goes back to not technically a pedophile because the child is of age, but that's disgusting. I got to have conversations with young women about how to properly put in tampons, how to properly wash themselves, because their parents not teaching it to them. And you want to run up in
And
a
see,
girl who got toilet tissue
I was
on
just
her
about to say that. That's the sad part
That's a
right
good
there.
one, Larry.
You know,
you want to run up in a little girl who got
that's the
toilet
sad
tissue in
part
her
right
ass.
there.
You want to run up in a little girl who has toilet tissue on her ass because she can't wash herself well. But she's an adult. She's a woman. She don't even know how to use a tampon. But she's a woman.
You were born when I graduated high school. Okay, I like that, Larry. All right, good. I like that, Larry.
Yeah, because if somebody didn't how can you have a decent conversation with somebody? What are the commonalities between you and someone that is 25, 20 years younger than you?
There's none. There's no, I mean, it's not about that at that point. It's not about commonality because there is none. You can't have a conversation with
That's
a girl.
correct. That's correct, Larry.
I mean, at that point, it's not about conversation, though. You mess with the reason.
Right. So
it's
that's
not about
what we
conversation.
say what it is. Right. I agree with you 100%. Let's say what it is.
Yeah.
Baby. We're not talking. Like my friend said, we having fun. We fucking.
Yeah.
Our language. We having a good time. We behind the trees. We in the bushes. We on top of the car. We in the backyard. We busting it wide open. I'm gonna give you $40 and send you on your way. And then when I see you next week, I might get your hair done. You want your nails done too? Get your nails done too, Mom.
Because that's what you're doing. Because I don't know no $40 hairstyles and none of that no more. I don't know none of that. That's what them little children.
Get your little Popeye's chicken. I'm gonna go get your little, little Wednesday night Popeye's chicken. All right. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, when I was going to Suno, I attracted a lot of younger women in the class, right? Like
Mhm.
throughout the whole school term, right? And so when I went to Suno, I was roughly 42. So I attracted a lot of 32, 33s, right? And I ain't gonna lie, at first, right, I was just like, nah, because I'm coming out of a marriage, right, that I had been in for 20 plus years. And my wife was like a few years younger than me. But that was my environment. And when I went into my regular environment, I'm gonna say, like, I'm going out amongst my age bracket, I'm just gonna tell the truth. If I got a 35-year-old pursuing me and I got a 45-year-old who have 2 kids at home and a grandbaby, right? I'm picking the 35-year-old. That I'm just gonna tell the truth. You see what I'm saying, right? You know, it's like can't come to your house because your children stay there. I don't want to even be at your house with your children there, right? Then you got your grandchildren there. Then if I'm saying, come on, let's take a trip, you got to rearrange this, that, and the third. We got to find dates, this, that, and the third. But with the 35-year-old, I say, come on, let's take a trip. She dropped the baby off by her mama.
On that one, I'm going to
I can't, girl, I can't with Bryson.
All right, all right, all
Let me
right.
stop. But listen,
Listen,
hold on. Can I change topics right quick for a second?
Go ahead.
All right. So listen, we talking about social media. So I'm on social media, and you know we got these escapees running through the city of New Orleans, right?
Right.
So they got this one going around today of this young man that supposedly I couldn't go background check it, right? But they plastering it everywhere. So he supposedly is in jail for killing 4 people that's related to the
No,
person that
it's
killed
not
his
true.
mom.
It's not
All
true.
right. So
He's in
but
jail for killing 4 people, and his grandmother did get killed by the police officer. But the people who killed has nothing to do with his grandmother's with the people with the police
all
officer.
right. So listen,
But social
I figured as
media got
much.
it like it is though.
But I figured as much. But what my problem is, when you go in the comments of this thing, the large amount of people that's cheerleading him, right, for doing so, right? And it's like, oh, well, he shouldn't be in jail anyway. He got some get back. And it's like a large amount of people. And it's like, damn, the mind state of my city is toe up. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all cheerleading the fact that he supposedly killed 4 people that technically had nothing to do with his grandmother getting killed, right? And that plays into like the mindset of the culture of our city, right? That I kind of
Correct.
found myself rooting a little bit like I
But
hope they get away.
not just our city though, but you know what I realized, and what I don't think that us as black people, because this is us, right? This is a us issue, a black people issue. We don't know how we're playing into this man's demise. I'm gonna just say this, because if we start to put that out on social media, right? Because what if this was orchestrated by a cop, right? Or by people to make sure that this young man dies? What
Right,
happens is now when they encounter him, he's a threat. He ain't got lick a gun. He ain't did nothing to make you feel like he threat. But because social media has played it up, now if something happens to him, oh, he went out like a blaze. You know, I knew it. And now we just set it up for this young man to die. Right?
right,
Because that's how I look
right,
at it. I look at as we sit here on social media and we are cheerleading these things and we're saying I'm betting on so and so, and I got $100 on this one. I've been watching the social media foolishness. You know, I got $100. So and so gonna be the last man standing. He going out with a blaze, and we setting it up to kill our black men. They went out. I feel like they escaped in peace. Right? They didn't hurt anybody to leave the jail.
right.
They should come back to jail in one piece.
And see, that's the thing that bothered me too, since you say the escape and peace part, right? They was listing them dudes as armed and dangerous immediately. Right, right.
They ain't
So
touched one
dangerous, yes,
person. They
but
ain't knocked
armed, I
nobody
don't know.
out. They ain't stabbed nobody. They ain't nobody got hurt coming out of OJC, which is impossible because I go to OJC 1 to 2 days a week. And I got to get buzzed to go to the hallway. You heard me? So I'm trying to figure out how the hell I can't go from one door to the next room without being buzzed.
Right.
But that don't mean they don't have shanks, because they do make shanks in jail, but they
But
didn't
they
say
ain't
that.
stabbed nobody to get out.
But they all murderers. That don't make them armed and dangerous. The
But
fact
they
that
all not. Listen,
they
that's
were
another
murderers makes
misconception.
them
They all
dangerous.
not. They are all not murderers. Only 4 or 5 out of 10 were actually murderers. Like one of the dudes, it didn't even make him no sense for him to escape. They must have pumped him
Yeah,
into escaping because he
exactly.
had like
Trying to pump
aggravated
you up.
battery and something else that the most
Domestic
time
Yeah.
he would have
violence or
got was
something like
maybe
that.
like,
Mhm.
yeah, you see what I'm saying? So that's
But
why I'm gonna
not
tell
only
y'all.
that, we got to also look at this is alleged. I mean, they are all on trial. Only one person had been convicted, and that's the young man that everybody is talking about. He is the
Right,
only convicted person in that lineup. Everybody else still has to go before a trial of their peers.
right.
But that's besides the
So
point now, because they all committed a federal crime, so they all going there and go at this point. So
that's,
that's
I mean, and
neither
my
here
thing
nor
is,
there.
I just want them to be safe. The truth is, they are my brothers. They're black, and I want them to be alive.
But
I
I
mean,
think I'm not gonna. I mean, violence is like perpetual in this city anyway, and not just in this city, everywhere. So
Hmm.
when I saw that story that you're talking about the guy who grandmother was killed by, I mean, I was trying to make heads or tails of the story, because it said first the mama, then it said the grandmother was killed by Lynn Davis put a hit on them. Like the Lynn Davis people, they're so long gone by now, but that don't mean that the people that was working with him, like everybody is behind bars. So I understand what you're saying, Demetrius, about you want him to be safe, but
I want
I'm
all
not
of them to be safe.
yeah, I don't
Now,
condone, because life is about decisions, and I'm not gonna say that because he is a victim of his environment, or because his grandmother was murdered,
I'm
or
not
he
saying no.
killed
I'm not saying that.
people.
What I'm saying is that they exited jail peacefully, and if they are not proposing a threat on coming in, then they should get to jail wherever they're going to return in peace.
safety.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Yeah,
What I'm saying is, because what I feel is that we have perpetuated a situation on social media to make it seem as if these people are going to go to blaze, right? And all of these things. And so, in the mindset of cops, because we see it every day, the wrong cop encounter those young men listening to social media, start
hmm
firing without cause because of social media. That's all I'm saying.
But then
yeah.
I also think, like, I agree with you 100% about them being returned safely. But once it reached national news, and that is on the news every single day. So that
Everywhere. Yep.
perpetuated made it worse. So it's not
Yep.
like, it was something like local and it happened, because there are things that have happened in that jail. I always make a joke every 2 to 3 business days. So it's localized. WDSU, the local news start reporting. But when CNN and Fox News, and then the governor gets involved, then it gets to be bigger.
Oh yeah.
Then it's blown
And
out of
then it's the
proportion.
number. Yeah, if it had
Right.
been one person, it wouldn't have
10
never been. But
people
it's
right
10.
now?
Oh
God
man,
damn.
baby. I'm like, Lord, they're about to shut the whole jail line. Hold on,
I
10
feel sorry for
people,
the sheriff. I'm like, your career just done. You had
10,
10
But you
people
know
in
10
there.
people.
what's
Now I
funny
will say one
is
thing. She been saying for the longest that they needed more money. They needed more funding. So how
But they do because you don't even have people that escort, like, so they have programs and things and services that they provide. So, people in there, you don't even have enough deputies to escort anybody onto the floor to provide those services all the time. So,
you know what I'm saying? They need more funding. So she been saying I need more funding. The jail is falling apart. Which it's a brand new damn jail.
Not the
How the
I was
hell is it
about to say
falling
the new
apart?
jail.
they better know, huh?
Yeah, it's a brand new jail. How you
They
falling
wasn't
apart?
break out. They probably wasn't gonna break out the old one like that.
I hated that damn jail. That jail was so nasty. Oh my God, it was nasty.
I ain't never been to. Well, yeah,
I've been
I
in
get
it.
what you're saying.
It was
I ain't
nasty.
never been to that one.
Listen, yeah, it depends on which one you went to, how nasty it was, right? But the
Yeah.
jail been, I mean, but Orleans Parish is just a crooked parish.
Oh
Because
yeah.
we at one point was housing the most inmates in the United States in Orleans Parish.
Still are.
They had more inmates at Orleans Parish than at Angola. So when you know that you get paid per inmate per day, right? It's like, where's the money going then? If it's not being spent
Right.
on the upkeep of the facilities, you know? But I mean,
I did a
It's
I'm gonna
going
be
on making
honest.
the French quarters purple,
But I
doing
did a
Super
whole
Bowl and special events. That's where the money going.
I did a whole
Bourbon.
deep dive on Katrina, and I got all them. I got all the spreadsheets of all the money that came to the city through FEMA and the federal government. New Orleans it's on another level corrupt. It's not just corrupt light. The money, the multi-billion dollars that we received from FEMA, just FEMA, to get this city back to where it needed to be, baby, the street should be paved with gold.
Uh-huh.
When I'm talking about, like, I can't remember, I think it was like $280-something billion. It wasn't no little bit of money. New Orleans
In the street still sinking, huh?
When I did that public records request and I started getting those documents, I had to put it down because I was infuriated. We give contracts to our friends.
It'll do that.
Yeah,
It'll do that.
Our friends who not gonna do the job. If it's 10 million, we gonna steal a whole 9 and leave $1 for the $1 million for the project. It's really sickening. The money that this city received after Katrina, this city should not be looking like this at all. So I understand when you talk about corruption in the system.
Yeah, because I was having a conversation with somebody a while ago, and they don't, like when you go back to mayors of the 70s and 80s, right, and governors, right, like I be forgetting his name. What our governor name that went to the feds? The old dude.
Edwin Edwards.
All right, so we know Edwin Edwards was skimming off the top. Right? So if you wanted a contract in Louisiana, you had to give Edward Edwards some money, right? Once you got that contract, he made sure the monies went to where it was going to go. These people, they get their off the top money and then they're stealing the other money too. You know what I'm saying? Like there is no reason why a lot of things that saved our generation was Nord, right? So we had crime, but we had Nord, right? You had Nord, you had the Boys and Girls Club, all these different things for children to do, right? But the city is stealing so much of the money, right? You don't have Nord no more. You don't have the Boys and Girls Clubs no more. You literally have nothing for these children to do, right? So if I don't have nothing to do, I'm going to find something to do.
And let me tell you this, and I've always said this, New Orleans now, you have to have money to live here. So I have a young child. I have a young son. He's 11. The money we spend on STEM programs, the money we spend on, his whole schedule for the summer has been planned. It's $2,500 that his dad now is spending just to keep him doing something STEM, robotics, this and that. And we know the people in this city do not have that type of money. And I'm not saying like, well, I got it like that because I don't. But when you said we had Nord, that was free. The Boys and Girls Club was free. We don't have that anymore. And parents, in order to keep their kids busy, because my son stays busy, it costs a lot of money. When you can go to Texas, you can go to Georgia, and these things are free.
Yes, free thing. So they don't like.
That's the issue. That's why you see all these young kids walking up and down the street. That's nothing for them to do.
I got Nord right up the street from my house. Like I got Millionaire Boys on right up the street from my house. So they should not have a kid walking up and down, but every day I see them walking up and down the street. No activities going on other than the gym. They have little things going on every now and then. When we was and you gotta pay for it. But when I was coming up, they always had things for us to do, and it was free. Like when my daughter, like I could send Myron, my son is in almost 40. I could send him to summer camp for free. By the time my daughter was born 14 years later, it cost me every bit of between $5,000 to $10,000 or whatever just to keep her ass occupied in events. That was with camp, some dance school, doing competitions and all that type of stuff.
$180 a week. I'm paying for camp. Oh, that's the week. That's not the after. That's not the before care. That's not even the lunch. That's just for someone to show up and be there. $180. Who has over $1,000? And if you have multiple children, to spend on that, that's insane.
You forgot the $25 for the swim lessons,
girl. First of all, I was paying $25 to $50 per lesson. When I learned to swim at Starling's Gym in the Night Ward for free. We lived in that pool, but like you said, a lot of the things are not free. And you know, at the end of the day, it's the city. We do not invest in our youth.
Yeah,
at all.
We
have so much midnight football you can do. It's so much. I mean, basketball is so much. You know, they have these parks with these teams and stuff, but then the coaches are telling me the parents not showing up. They got to go pick the kids up. They got to drop the kids off. They got to make sure the kids eating, and they're spending their own money doing this.
You know what's even worse though? Most of the football teams throughout New Orleans, they complain about the quote unquote drug dealers and everything. But them the dudes who is paying for these football teams to be at these pokes and buy uniforms and all this stuff, they either used to hustle and trying to give back, or they currently hustling, you know, and giving back. And it's insane that we pay our tax money, right? And they throwing us all away. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of understand the mindset of citizens cheering for people who got out of jail, because the system here is doing nothing for us at all. You know what I'm saying? It's legitimately us against them. Outside of people like ourselves, right, who work in this particular field that love and trying to give back and help the community, the rest of it is insane.
But the thing
You know,
is,
I'll tell the truth and say I moved my children to Slidell when they was 3 and 4. You know, and I don't have no disrespectful criminals that, you know, they just good wholesome little dudes to the point where they're annoying me sometimes.
but the thing is, if you can finesse the system enough to break your way out of jail, if you can finesse citizens, ordinary citizens, to help you get out of jail, you can find a way to finesse the system, like I said, then yeah, I commend you because you're smart. But then we have to teach our kids to use their intelligence a different way, but we learn from our politicians how to scam and scheme, because in today's society, that's the way of the world, scamming and scheming. Because you have people not working, and I say this every day. How you living every day? You not working, you ain't like, how you paying your bills? How you paying your rent?
But it also speaks to the fact that, yeah, it's the politicians, it's the school, it's the this, it's the that, but it's the parents. It starts at home. See how you say you move your kids to Slidell? I lived in Slidell. My daughter went to school in Slidell for 5 minutes. She was like, no, she went back to private school because that's what my family's Catholic. So I've never been to public school. We all went to private school. And I'm not saying private school is good, because it's not. All you're doing is paying for grit, tenacity, and your child going to show up and they're going to get disciplined. But at the end of the day, it's the parents. It's the parents. When I was doing mental health work, the problem is at the house. When I was going giving mental health services in the household, the problem is in the house. The problem is in the back room. That's what the problem is. It's not the kids. It's not the kids, because I see these kids and I see the potential, and it breaks my heart to see how smart they were and the potential that they had. And I'm saying to myself, this poor child, by the time this child is probably in high school, it's gonna be over for them, because it's the home life, it's the environment.
Mm-hmm.
It's the environment. I don't care how much camp. You know, my son went to like a church camp, and we get letters sent home about little girls, you know, young women and men cursing and just being disrespectful, cussing out the counselors, cussing out the pastor. Then the mom will come to the camp and she cussing out the camp director. The problem at the house.
Yes. And I agree with Larry. Some of these parents, they don't even know the classes their kids taking. And I was talking about this earlier with me and Darlene was having this conversation about parents they don't parent anymore. It's like they're not trying to be parents. They want to be the best friend. They want to hang out with the kids at the bar and things like that. they're not parenting their kids because it's just ridiculous that your kid. I took my children everywhere I went. They knew to sit down. They knew how to sit down and conduct themselves as children. They knew when they were supposed to go play with kids and when they were supposed to sit their ass down and mind their business as a child. These days, the children running the household.
That's true. And I'm gonna say this. I'm old enough to remember the switch because it was my generation that did it, right? We were disciplined so much, right? That when we came along, we ain't want to discipline our children like that. You see what I'm saying, right? Oh, and I remember watching Nothing Against Women, right? They didn't even want their mamas telling them or disciplining their children. You know what I'm saying? Don't discipline my child. If my child do something, I'm going to discipline my child, right? In front of the child. So now the child sees, oh, my mama going to stand up for me and disrespecting this person for standing up to me. So guess what's going to happen? The child becomes disrespectful. You see what I'm saying? So we in the second generation of it, which makes it like completely insane, right? Because soon as a child tell a parent something, the parent won't go run to the school to jump on the people, right? Not even paying attention. The same thing the people saying about your child, you deal with that same shit at your house. So how the people lying on your child? I had a son. Well, I have a son. His name is Najee. Man, Najee questioned everything, right? Everything was why. So he always got in trouble at school. So when I would get to the school and the people tell me what he's doing, right? He'll say, Daddy, they lying on me. And I'll pop the shit out of him and be like, no, you lying because you do me the same shit at home. You know what I'm saying? Right? Parents just don't do that no more. They just don't do it no more. And they hold adult conversations in front of their children. Everything go on is right there in front of children.
But I also think like we come from that generation too, where now we're in a position where we give our children things we didn't have, and that is sometimes to their detriment. Sometimes they don't have to work for anything.
How you doing?
Anything. So we were being beaten and we would get cursed out and all this stuff, and then we look at our children like, well, I don't want to parent them like that, so I give them. I don't want them to struggle. I don't want them. There's a flip side of it. It's a flip side of it where you don't want to beat your child. You don't want, I'm going to try to talk to you and have these conversations with you.
1 minute.
And I'm going to try to, talk to you. But we also, you look at these primes and shit like that. These child, they give these children things that they never had, and they're really living their life through their children, and that's dangerous. That's not healthy. You wanted to be on a dance team. You got your daughter dancing. She don't even want to dance. You want to be a cheerleader. You want to play football. When I played football, you got your son playing football. That boy want to play chess.
Right. But you know what's another?
I want you out here playing basketball. That boy is into STEM. He into coding. He into anime. But
another thing is, I gotta go. But you know what? Another thing is too. We keep trying to raise our children like them when our struggle is not the same as their struggle. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right? We can't afford to raise a bunch of entitled feeling children because we are not entitled. Right. You know what I'm saying? And we do what you just said, because I did it partially with my children. Once they got a certain age, they had to earn everything. Right. So, but I kind of overcompensate in some ways, and then I sit back and I realize them people got 200 plus years on us, right? Mm-hmm. So we can't afford to try to raise ours like theirs because we still in the struggle. You see what I'm saying? We still can't get no loans from the bank. We still got to prove everything. I raised my children you got to be better, stronger, and faster than them 2 times. Right. Yeah. But look, y'all, I have to go.
Yeah,
so I'm
about to wrap it up now. So on that note, just going back to say, we talked about the Diddy and the Kecia situation and talked about why our children do the things that we do. So all of those things kind of tie in together. But
Uh-huh.
I just want to let y'all know to continue. I just appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for coming on my podcast this afternoon to my guests. And I want to let you guys know to continue to watch me on Wednesdays on YouTube at K-Read2B, Facebook, and IG, KPRproductions.com. Don't forget to come to the speed dating event on June the 6th, y'all. We're going to be doing a speed dating event. And then afterwards, we're going to be celebrating the birthdays of the Gemini.
I'm
So
coming.
you can come out and party with us. And I'll see you guys on next Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye. Nice
Bye.
meeting you guys.